Hey, there's Lenny Magill with the GlockStore Performance and Custom Shop. We got a special guest today. Brad Stine is here in my studio in Nashville.
It is your studio as well as your entire facility, and it's one of the best places I've ever seen. I love shooting. I actually carry a Glock 43, and when I got in here, it made me ashamed. I have to get some additional ammunition and special guns because you got the best I've ever seen.
Well, pieces and parts too. But tell us about you really quickly.
Yeah.
Do you live in Nashville or where do you live?
I live in Nashville, and I've been here for about 19 years, but my comedy has always stood up for God and country, and I always make fun of political correctness because I believe it's actually killing free speech in America.
I'm just curious, next time a virus hits that it's got a 99.9% survival rate, maybe we shouldn't, I don't know, shut down Earth. Always a baby, always a mother. You never see a 10-point buck on the side of the road, do ya? You know why? Because a 10-point buck learns to send his family out first. That's how you get 10 points. Hey, babe, it says deer crossing. Give it a shot. All right, son, let's go a little bit further down and see if we can figure this out. I must be honest because I am a Christ follower. God bless you for enjoying life, and God bless America. The truth is marching on.
So that's what my comedy is all about, what makes me unique. And I'm actually on tour right now with JOHNATHAN FARO, who's an opera singer who moved from Italy to the United States, and we were doing something called the Spirit of America Tour. So everything I do is about lifting up our country, unapologetically American, and so that's why connecting with you guys just made a lot of sense.
Yeah, it does. I saw your show and it was really it was fun, but it was interesting because you go both ways. You just call it the way it is.
Yeah.
So there's no, you don't really have an agenda except for freedom.
Freedom and free speech. That's really the biggest key, is that comedians' our entire careers are based on the words, that we can use words, we can use ideas, we can use irony, we can use sarcasm. It's a way to communicate that traditionally has always been kind of being able to kind of push the barrier a little bit,
sure,
or be a little bit edgy, because everybody knew it was coming in the package of comedy. Well, even that's being stolen, and so I think it's just so important that we remember that the freedoms that we have in the United States didn't come free, that people actually had to arm themselves, defend themselves against tyranny, and of course now in America we find that sometimes speech is being censored. So I want us to have the freedom to always be able to speak freely, and that's what my comedy is all about. But again, it's all about anyone who cares about defending themselves.
Well, the individual really has to take responsibility, and hence that's what the individual handguns, firearms are all about. Really,
right.
You as an individual have a responsibility to take care of yourself, your family. Police can't be everywhere; they can't be there now. We founded this country on that personal liberty, the fact that you have your home and you can protect yourself and your property.
Yeah.
That's being eroded, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And here we are now. But let's talk about some of the things we do for Glocks. We of course are the GlockStore.
Yeah.
We sell Glocks.
Well, and by the way, I need to let them know that you guys are actually sponsoring our tour, so we're very appreciative of that. But we wanted to connect free speech and the ability to defend it.
Well, the reason I wanted to sponsor your tour is because I believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And
your
show was actually really funny.
Oh, well, that's good to know because I'm a comedian, so that's a nice fit.
But if you have a chance to go see the show, you should definitely see the show because it was a fun show, but it was actually bitingly true. That was the thing, is that the comedy you have. I guess there's truth in comedy.
Yes, there should be.
Or comedy and truth.
Well, listen, it's not funny unless it's true, unless it's dealing with reality. And like I said, when I started carrying myself personally, I wanted to know how to do it the most diligently I could and to be trained properly. And I found, when we found your facility and the training you guys have here, as well as the unique additions you can add to your guns that make it so much more effective, I thought it was important that you guys are able to point that out. Like, what is it that you do that's kind of unique and people are buying into?
Well, of course, this is a Glock 34. I mean, what we're going to show you real quickly applies to basically every Glock. Glock's a great gun, and it's kind of the utilitarian gun. It is the most popular handgun in the world. I don't know if you knew that. The Glock 17 is the most popular handgun almost ever developed.
I didn't know that.
The Glock 19 in the United States is the most popular gun because it's a little bit more concealed carry.
Yeah.
Now, of course, what's being superseded is that 43, 43X.
Yeah.
You carry the 43.
Yes.
And I was actually very happy to see your 43. And you had it right on your inside the waistband.
I did. It's right over there. I had to take it off to sit down. There's plenty of people here defending us, so I didn't.
Lots of guns around here, yeah. But it was nice to actually that you as a comedian, because typically you wouldn't imagine, that a guy like you would be a shooter but also proficient. You have some talent. You've trained.
Well, I have trained at Front Sight in Nevada. Yeah, I know you're familiar with those guys. They're also great too. But again, when I saw that there was a facility here in Nashville that is similar in that they're teaching some very specific techniques, because God forbid if you actually carry and you're not trained, you're not going to necessarily know what you're doing. You think you can, but boy, if suddenly you came to your home and somebody was in there, a bad guy, you really need to be able to defend yourself, and there's training that really needs to go along with it.
Yeah, and that's what we do here in this facility. You know, our training rooms are unique. You know, we don't shoot down lanes because that's not very practical.
Right.
We've got training rooms. You can shoot in multiple targets in multiple directions. You can draw from concealment, use lasers and lights, and try to shoot around corners and take cover, things you would need to do.
Yeah.
In a true self-defense.
No, it's real. I mean, you set it up so that you can actually be free to shoot the way it would actually happen. It's done as safely as possible. You don't have to worry. They're not crazy out there. They do have always somebody professional with them to defend you and protect you, but also it gives you that freedom to move the way you would have to do in a real situation. So God forbid it happens, but it does. It happens every day.
Well, just be prepared. That's the main thing. Okay, let's go ahead and go through some of the things we do real quickly. Here's a Glock 34. Like I said, you know, our most popular items would be the pyramid trigger.
Okay. Well, so what's unique about the pyramid trigger?
Well, the pyramid trigger comes to you like this. Of course, it has a gold bar. That's kind of neat, right?
It is.
But the key to the pyramid trigger is that we have shortened the trigger stroke. So the shorter the trigger stroke and lightened it, and the lighter the trigger stroke, the less likely, and it's really important to really get this concept, the less likely you are to disturb the sight picture as you pull the trigger.
Yeah.
So most people, everybody kind of gets the concept of, okay, I'm going to go ahead and put the front post inside the rear notch, and I'm going to squeeze the trigger, and that's accuracy, right? I'm going to center that up. But as you do that repeatedly, and if you have a long trigger stroke, you end up moving the gun around.
Right.
And so most accuracy problems happen when people are manipulating the trigger.
That's right.
So by having a shorter, lighter, crisper trigger pull, you are able to manipulate the trigger and not disturb the sight picture.
Okay.
So you can shoot faster and more accurate.
Right.
And so that's actually safer.
Right.
You know, a lot of people say, wow, gee, you know, lighter trigger, but if you really think about it, you're going to be more accurate.
Yeah.
And accuracy is safety, because if you're actually shooting, you don't want to shoot someone you didn't want to shoot.
Right.
Or you don't want to miss.
Right.
So you are more accurate and you're more safe because of the trigger. Another thing we sell, of course, which is very, very popular, it's installed in most of our guns, are the tungsten guide rods.
Yeah, that was really interesting. Tell me about what makes that different.
Okay, so the Glocks, all Glocks, come with a plastic guide rod.
Right.
And most people go, really, plastic? I didn't know that. Well, it has a spring around it. It looks like it could be steel, but the plastic guide rod is light, and it's designed, you know, for production. I mean, they make millions and millions of Glocks, so you figure, well, if they save, you know, $10 on that plastic versus a steel part over the millions of guns, hey, that's a lot of money, right? So they, you know, there's a reason they do it in plastic. And of course, you know, Glock originally was a plastics guy.
Yeah.
So that said, the tungsten guide rod is 4 times heavier than the plastic guide rod, and it allows you to shoot faster with less muzzle flip.
Right.
So by putting that dead weight under the barrel, and it doesn't move, okay, the slide moves, and most of the recoil really is the slide back and forth, but the dead weight here helps reduce some of that flip.
Right.
So hence you can be on target and shoot multiple shots on target faster, and again more accurately, and again safer.
Right.
Because the safety is, you know, is designed around your accuracy.
Right.
If you're shooting and the gun's jumping all over the place, you know, bullets are going all over the place.
Well, and one of the upsides to Glocks that a lot of people that have them is because it was a light gun. That was part of the reason why people liked it. But what you've done is added just a little bit extra weight in the front. It's still pretty light, but it also helps. The downside of the lightness is it does sort of get that muzzle flip a little bit higher.
Especially on the 43, 43X.
Yeah.
Those little guns, you know, have a tendency to be snappy.
Right.
And that extra weight really tames that recoil. We have a lot of people who not only get that, but I would say a lot of women who get it. You know, that they don't like that small gun because it's kind of snappy and it's kind of hard to hold on to.
Right.
This is a bigger gun. You get a little bit more onto it. But when you put the tungsten guide rod in there, it really makes a huge difference. So if you don't have a tungsten guide rod, you need one.
Yeah.
Now, let me show you one other thing. This is really popular, our magazine extensions.
Yeah, I love those.
Okay, so they add extra rounds. For 9mm, this particular extension adds 5 extra rounds.
5.
So you can take the 17-round magazine, make it 22.
That's great.
If it's a 40 caliber, it's 4 extra rounds.
Okay.
But they of course, look cool.
Yeah.
And
Do they come in various colors?
They
or-
do, yeah. We've got all kinds. Of course, this is gold and black motif. We've got them in silver, and we've got them in red. All kinds of different colors. That's one of the nice things about these pieces and parts. You can customize based upon your own color scheme.
Right. No, I get it. No, it's
So,
a nice.
and we've got a whole bunch of other things that really will improve the Glock. And our goal has always been to take this gun and make it better for you. And everybody has some unique things that they're looking to do, whether you're shooting competition, whether you're shooting home defense. Like this gun right here, has a weapon light mounted to it, and a red dot optic.
Yeah.
Now, did I say that all the parts are made here in the United States?
No, you should have.
I should have.
That's the only reason I would buy them is because they came from the U.S.
So we do all the machining here in our Nashville. So you've seen our machine shop.
I have.
Haven't
It's
you?
amazing.
Yeah, it is, and it's getting bigger and bigger and better and better. But we buy our materials right here in the States. So the tungsten's smelted here in the United States.
That's
I mean,
amazing.
it's coming out of Ohio.
That's great.
So we're employing people in the
Yes.
States. The money stays in the States, and that's, I think, really important. One of the things, everybody wants cheap, I get it, but at the end of the day, that money's flown out of the country.
That's right.
And it is detrimental to our financial well-being.
That's right.
All of us as citizens. That money, we want to keep that money in. In fact, what made this America great, really, one of the things really early on was the exportation of all the natural resources we had. So that money flowed into the United States and allowed us to build this wonderful country.
That's right. That's right. And one thing I would like to say to you guys is, hey, listen, if you're a Glock owner, we don't have to sell you anything. You know how great they are. And you will certainly see the benefits of these added elements that they've created here. But if you don't have a gun, if you're one of these people that are concerned about it, or you're scared about it, or it makes you nervous, I understand. It's a tool, but sure, it can be dangerous, like a hammer can be, or a screwdriver, or anything else, if it's misused. But what I want you guys to understand is this. All the people I've ever met that manufacture guns, that carry guns, that use them, are some of the best citizens you can actually find. Nobody's flippant with these. Nobody's careless with these. They know how important it is to be safe and to be well versed in how to defend yourself, but also how to train yourself to use it well. So if you even booked a flight and came down to Nashville, tell them about the type of, you have certain, I guess, ways of teaching people that is unique.
Yeah, it is. We, like I said, we don't shoot down lanes. We have combat rooms that are private. And what's really important, a lot of people are very uncomfortable shooting around other people they don't know.
Right, of course.
Especially, people new to firearms. You got a guy next to you in a lane with a big old hand cannon. And it's you're nervous and jumpy, and so it's very difficult to learn because you're just kind of up on edge. So we get in a private room, and the private room allows us to really dial into your skill level.
That's right.
So you already had some skills, so we said, hey, let's jump to the next level.
Right.
We don't need to talk about trigger pull and sight picture and all that stuff. Let's get some speed going.
Right.
Let's shoot at some multiple targets. Let's do some fun stuff that will, challenge you.
And you're doing tournaments as well?
Yeah, we have competitions here. We just did a low light competition. We do low light classes. The low light thing is really interesting. A lot of people go to the gun shows and they'll buy a cheap light.
Yeah.
It's great. It shines and it goes, it breaks, it works, right? But as soon as you shoot, all the mechanics, all the vibrations, it fries it, and they don't work. So if you cheap out on buying stuff and you actually shoot with it, it doesn't work.
Okay.
So what we do is we say, hey, look, let's test your equipment before you need to.
Nice.
So a lot of people buy lights, and because you go to a lane range, you really can't turn the lights off because there's other people shooting. So they never really get to shoot with their lights or lasers.
Yeah.
And so we
and a lot of ranges don't even let you pull.
You
they don't let you do anything.
You
so
can't
really
draw
can't
from concealment. You
practice.
can't really do anything practical.
That's right.
So our goal is to give the person who comes in to train, the consumer, a one-on-one experience and allow them to really learn at their level.
Right.
There's no one in the back room asking stupid questions, kind of wasting your time. When you go to a class of 30 people, there's always that one guy in the back, who's kind of like, hey, excuse me, it's like he's dominating the class, and you're saying, oh my gosh,
So if somebody comes to your site, do you also have an easy way for them to ask questions and get information about what they might be purchasing, especially if they want to bring something in from out of state?
Oh yeah, of course. We have customer service emails and all that stuff. They can always call. The phone lines are are busy, but you can always call and get through. We are setting up a series of classes for 2022.
Okay.
We'll do some things here in the indoor ranges, as well as out at our farm. We've got 237 acres out there.
Oh, nice.
And we can shoot some long distance too. So if anybody's interested in 300, 400, 500 yard shooting, we can definitely do that.
All right.
So.
Well, listen, as you guys know, and if you don't, you should. I was called God's comic simply because of my faith and because of my particular conservative values made me a unique comic. And I want you to know something that's very important to me. I don't attach my name and my brand to places that I don't believe in. I'm simply not going to do it. I try to be a man of honor. I know who Lenny is. I know what he believes in. I know he cares about this country and he cares about our values. I would not talk about this facility if it wasn't one of the best I've ever seen. It is truly a place you need to go to, and if you do get Glock parts or want to continue to add to your arsenal of Glock, this is the place to go, GlockStore.com. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And by the way, come on up to Nashville and take some of the training they'll give. Heck, I might even show up. But this is important, folks. We do need to defend ourselves and show that the Second Amendment is not only not dead, but it's robust here in the United States. Lenny, thank you so much for creating this, and thank you for being the kind of American we need.
And let me say this in closing, Brad Stine,
right.
you're touring.
Yes.
You've got a couple
Spirit
different
of
things.
America with
Spirit of
Jonathan
America
Church,
with Jonathan.
Church,
Okay, and then you also have your
Unapologetically American.
right. So if you have a chance to see this, it's fun. It really, this guy is fun. It's laugh out loud fun, and not just me, but everybody in the room was on the floor.
No,
we had a good time. We
it
really
was a
did,
good
yeah.
time, and so it's people that care about this country and care about our values, and yet it's comedy for you to bring your friends, and if they're a little bit left-leaning, bring them just to tick them off a little bit. Trust me.
Well, even the lefties, I think they because everything you say, there's truth to it. It's not like you're grabbing straws. This
Right.
is the real stuff, but you kind of have a nice twist to it. So thank you. Really
Well,
enjoyed
my
it.
pleasure, and as I said in the beginning, for me to have the freedom to say the things that I do, it's only because people were willing in America to defend our freedoms, even if it came to firearms. So again, that's the last resort. But if you need to defend yourself, this is the place to come. GlockStore.com. Thank you, Lenny.
All right,
God
Brad.
bless you, folks.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time, and hope to see you here in Nashville.
I'll be here.